All right, we are. We are definitely live with the infamous Barb McGowan. So thanks everybody. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'll be completely transparent. That was all me. Barb was here and ready to rock and roll for many, 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 many minutes.
For
Um,
days, weeks.
for days. She's been in the back office for days. All right, so we're just going to dive right in. Thanks again, Barb, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to be here in the group. So honored to have you. And I would love for you to just sort of dive in and let people know just a little bit about you and your background as an affiliate marketer.
Sure. Thanks for having me. And see, that's the mark of a true entrepreneur, someone who's like, well, there's a snag and I'm going to keep trying different things and getting through it. Um, so my journey as an entrepreneur kind of started around this time last year. In short, I think this is typical of a lot of people, but the pandemic really had an impact on what I thought of my job. My boss was wanting to retire. I worked as a context. I was a teacher and a director at a education nonprofit, and I love teaching and coaching and mentoring. Like that's my jam. But my job was becoming very administrative, budgets, spreadsheets, grant writing, like all the worst stuff you can imagine. And so my boss, because of the pandemic and all the stress that had come about, was like getting ready to retire, wanted to hand over the executive director position to me. And I was not about that. I did not want to sit behind a desk. I did not want to go back to the office after working from home, for over a year. And so I started thinking, all right, I need to, I feel like any good millennial, I started to think, okay, I need to find a way to make money online, to build an online business over time. Because I had fairly realistic expectations. I knew I wasn't going to become a millionaire overnight. And I think that I was kind of anticipating, based on past experience at other jobs that I ended up hating and, desperately wanting to quit. I was like at a crossroads, and I was like, I can either bury my head in the sand, and I think we've all been there, and hope that this kind of desperation and this hate for this job and what it represents goes away, but knowing that it won't. And so I could either go down that path, and I know how that ends, or I can kind of face the discomfort of doing something new. And, this time I made that choice to do something new. Was looking for ways to make money online on YouTube, stumbled across the business model of affiliate marketing, kind of started learning more about it and really saw the value in it, dove right in. And my initial goal when I started my business in January was to quit my 9-to-5 job within a year. So that would have been like next month, like a month from now.
Nice. Okay.
But I was able to actually leave my job. My last day was July 2nd of this year. So, and I'm obviously it's, a little disclaimer, results aren't typical.
Yeah.
But I think that really what it stems from, and I think we are going to talk about mindset, because that's like every entrepreneur's favorite topic. But I think it stemmed from like a couple really tangible and practical mindset related things that I hope to impart unto anyone that's watching, because with the right mindset, anyone can have success. And it's almost a science that you will have success with the right mindset. So yeah, that's kind of has been my affiliate marketing journey. In the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, I've kind of parlayed my love for teaching and coaching and mentoring, like I mentioned, to my own coaching program. And so that's where I'm at currently. I'm working on creating a digital product, and kind of that's how we got connected, was kind of through a mutual set of like mentors of our own. And so yeah, that's kind of my life story in a nutshell.
All right. And that's great. There's like so many pieces to unpack. So, there's a lot of folks in the group right now, and myself was included, where I was, really struggling with being able to make money. I was in that, not just with the pandemic, but some other things medically. And, what I love about, what you just mentioned is that, we both come from a teaching background. So that's kind of our love, is to dive in. We were lifelong learners, right? And
Mhm.
this is a whole new skill set. But what was it that really, when you decided, okay, I'm just going to jump in and do this? The question of always, how how do I get started? What are the steps? So how were you able to get over that hump to just say, I'm just going to dive in and start doing it? How did you get past that? How do I?
Oh, that's such a good question. So it was I look back on the whole experience of getting started, and it felt very serendipitous. And by that, I mean, I had gotten to the point of becoming really unhappy at my job, realizing I wanted to do something different. I wanted independence and freedom, and really to build my own thing and to be free of working outside of my house for 50 hours a week.
Mm,
And so what I started to do, I'm one of, I think I'm, again, results not typical. I think I'm one of those people where if you tell me I can't do something, or if you put any kind of adversity in my face, I will smash that adversity and that, I don't know, whatever difficulty that is put in front of me, just to spite someone. Do you know
mm.
what I mean?
Mhm, mhm,
And so that's like kind of, I love a good fight. I love like competition. And so when I started to feel that way, I was like, oh, okay, okay. This is like that precursor feeling of like just getting pushed into that level of discomfort where I have to take action.
mm,
So I know this sounds really weird, like this would be my reaction, but what I started to do was work out, journal, meditate,
mm,
just inundate my brain with positivity and growth and
mhm,
success oriented type of like audiobooks, especially regular books that I would read.
mhm,
Um, and really start preparing my mind for whatever that next step or next adventure was. And I didn't know what it was, but I just knew, I just had this feeling that it would show itself or I would find it.
okay.
And so I think that by doing all of those things that I mentioned, working out, journaling, like really getting my mind in the right place, that I was able to, you know, I feel like when our mind is in the right place, we'll see things and be like, it's an opportunity. That's an
Mhm,
opportunity. And really recognize those opportunities out there. And it then makes it easier for us to jump in because we've already like primed our brain with, this is the thing that I've been waiting for, that I knew was just around the corner. And
mhm.
I think that belief, whether it's true or not, if we believe it, that is what makes it true. And I know this sounds kind of like hippy dippy or whatever, but I'm just saying that this is absolutely true in my experience. And I've like experienced this time and time again. But um, so I guess to get into like the more practical side of the question, which is like, how did I decide, to get started?
Yeah.
I think just it's a matter of number one, taking baby steps. That when I started learning about affiliate marketing, it was like a $7 course, to kind of learn some of the basics, learn about the business model. And then it came time to make a larger investment. And I was like, okay, this large investment to start this business, it signified to me, this is do or die. Like I'm burning the
Mhm,
ships and
mhm,
I'm proceeding on this course of action because I truly, I have this feeling that this could be it. This could be my ticket out to freedom,
mhm,
out of my 9 to 5 and toward the life that I want.
mhm,
And I think that when we make that decision of I'm going all in and I'm taking all other options off of the table.
mm,
And for me, that meant a monetary investment, to signify to my brain, like, wow, this is a lot of money for me at the
mhm,
time. This means I'm serious. Like this is do or die.
mhm,
And so I think that it's like a combination of taking baby steps, but also taking massive action.
mhm,
And then that kind of forces us down the path of growth and entrepreneurship and taking a little bit of a calculated
mhm,
risk. You know what
mhm.
I mean?
Yep. Wow, so many, you are just dropping mad bombs in here, okay? Total fire right now. So many different things to unpack, and I love what you mentioned in terms of taking baby steps, right? Because that's, again, it's always, well, how? And I talk about this a lot in my group and even in the
Mhm,
content that I create, is that we're stuck in that 9 to 5 mindset, right? A 9 to
mhm,
5, is show me the steps, show me the tasks that I'm supposed to do
Mhm.
repetitively from Monday through Friday. But now this is something totally different, okay? And it's you're going to have to sort of figure it out on your own. But
Mhm.
you talked a lot about you were prepping your mind literally, right, in order to
Mhm.
make that big investment. And you knew, it sounded like you knew that you were just so unhappy there had to be a better way and there
Mhm.
wasn't another option. And I love then what you touched on. I want you to dive a little bit more into that, because when you made that big investment in yourself and higher level skills, because let's be honest, a $7 course isn't going to give you everything you need to build a business. I
Mhm.
love that you said that you burned the bridge to not give yourself another option. I think a
Mhm.
lot of times people struggle with actually getting started and staying consistent because this isn't their last option, right? They're
Right.
holding on to something else in their back pocket as their plan B. So can you
Mhm.
walk us through your mindset of when you basically just put the gasoline on it, burned the bridge, and started and walked yourself into now what is, you guys, six-figure money?
Girl. So, I mean, just full transparency and full disclosure, like I've been in recovery from drugs and alcohol for almost 5 years, and I have I'm 37 now, and up until that point, I, like, just constantly struggled with
Mm,
addiction. And it got to the point in my life where it's like I was trying to, like, "Oh, maybe I could have a couple drinks, or maybe I could do this or that." No. And I think I've learned so many very painful but very valuable lessons from addiction. One of them being sometimes you have to take the option off the table to really free yourself from that
mhm,
thing. Do you know what I mean?
mhm,
So it's like when I was like, "All right, I know that I'm from this day forward cutting drugs and alcohol out of my life."
mhm,
It's like that freedom of knowing, okay, I can't, like, there's no looking back. I'm forward focused now.
mhm.
Um, and I think that's such a huge takeaway. I'm not suggesting anybody who's watching run out and develop an addiction so that you can overcome it. Like, that's not it at all. That's a really
Right.
roundabout way
Right,
of doing
we're not advocating that.
it. No, for any children out there. But I think that the equivalent for me in my business has been like, okay, find the thing that is uncomfortable,
Mm, mhm,
whether that is creating content, whether that's making that investment that feels really scary. And don't I wasn't taking food off of my table. Like, I wasn't not paying my mortgage or not paying my car payment to invest in myself when I was first starting to get up
mhm,
and running in my affiliate marketing business. But I did invest $2,500 to get what I perceived as the appropriate training and information that I needed to get up and running quickly, and that was the case.
mhm,
And as context, at the time, the car that I was driving was like $900. So, and I don't like I've had this sweatshirt since high school. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't just go out and frivolously spend money. $2,500 was a huge investment.
mhm,
But again, it just signified to me that this is the way forward, and
mhm,
it felt uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. It was
mhm,
a little bit scary. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I just do?" But I realized, "All right, I did it. Doesn't
mm,
matter what did I just do, I did it." And now, going back to that forward looking, attitude, that's really how I chose and had to really approach the decisions that I made,
mm,
on a day by day basis. And then time and time again, as I've kind of progressed along on my entrepreneurial journey, it's like the same kind of patterns where I'm like, "Ooh, I've reached this crossroads in my business and I can continue to just do affiliate marketing, or I can, bring my own product or service to market and, kind of veer off the known path of what I've been doing for the last 6 months, which is just strictly affiliate marketing. And now I'm going to kind of foray into coaching and like course creation and stuff like that. And and that feels uncomfortable. And it's like, y'all, it's a series of feeling a
mm.
little bit uncomfortable. But let me tell you, the first TikTok video I ever put out, I must have recorded that thing 10 times. I was like sweating, girl. My hair was like, it was starting to like stick out because I was so sweaty and like, and and it wasn't even that good. in
Mhm.
retrospect, but it felt like a huge accomplishment at the time. What I found was now when I create content, I do it, I
Mm,
don't care what I look like. I know that what I have to say is way more valuable to somebody who's watching than how my hair looks.
mm,
But it's like the process of posting TikTok videos doesn't become objectively easier.
mm,
It's still the
mhm.
same.
Right.
I became better. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And
Oh,
that's just like,
alright.
I look back on the content that I made, I'm like, it's just
Yeah.
amazing. Do you know what I
It's
mean?
yes,
In the
yes.
less than a year, how far I've been able to come. And it's not just me. Like, you're nodding, yes, this is
Mhm.
true of me too. Any of y'all, if you start doing something that makes you feel a little bit intimidated, a little bit out of your comfort zone, the amount of growth you will see in a month, you'll look back and be like, "Oh my," like, it's almost unrecognizable. And that
Mhm.
will spur you to continue on that path because it's just
Mhm.
like, so you'll inspire yourself. It's so
Mhm.
dope.
Oh my gosh. Barb, my goodness, dropping more bombs in here. I love it. Fire, fire, fire. But you're absolutely right. And I'm nodding and saying yes, 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 because been there, done that. It took me forever to make my first TikTok.
Mhm.
I think yeah, it took me forever. Same thing, right? And when I look back on it, the lighting, the everything was just horrible, horrible. I look back on some of my earlier videos and was like, oh sis, what were you doing, right? I mean, if it wasn't for my aunt and my mom, I would have never gotten any views. But I love again that you're diving into you just have to start, right? You just have to take that first step. And when you take that first step, it's like walking. It's like learning to walk. You're gonna
Mhm.
wobble, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. You're gonna
Yeah.
scrape your knees. You're gonna get some injuries, but you have to get up and keep going. And I love that that's like just resonating in your message. It just is just to keep going. So I want to
Mhm.
dive into that a little bit. Again, I'm thinking of, so many folks here in the group. Some of them are actually entrepreneurs themselves. They actually have another online business, but some of those things are kind of struggling. So what do you do? I'm going to continue to say it, you guys. We've been so honored and blessed to have her in the group. She's a six-figure marketer from home in her high school sweatshirt, okay, making it happen. So it's not that you have to be pretty, you have to, be look perfect in your videos. She's making it happen because she's giving value. But in giving value and building your business, Barb, what do you do when you hit bumps in the road? When you honestly, I'm sure we all have it. Like
Oh, Lord.
you're on the struggle bus. What do you do
Yeah.
when you hit that snag to be able to took you from, just starting as an affiliate marketer to just cranking in that coin and now boom, you've elevated to a whole nother level. How do you get past those hurdles?
Oh, man. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about this, like a couple days ago. So, like over the summer, I mean, platforms change and
Mhm.
algorithms change and all of that. And so, um, I think it was at some point over the summer, like the TikTok algorithm changed. And I mean, I think a lot of creators really, especially in like the affiliate marketing or make money online space, really noticed like a hit to views and engagement. And we were just like, dude, what? And I apologize if you can hear my cat howling and scratching. But and so it was so frustrating. Like I had just quit my job and I'm like, for real? Like, of course, I quit my job and now this like something happens and it's gonna like, jack up my business. And so what I started to do, and it was actually such a blessing in disguise. But it's like, what are the options at that point? You're on this platform and you're like, okay, so I'm creating the same old content that I have been that's been doing really well, and now all of a sudden it's not doing well. All right, so I could quit. Nah, that's obviously never gonna happen. You know me. I could keep on doing the same old thing and keep on complaining that nothing is happening for me. Nothing, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
That's
mhm,
insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Or I could try switching it up. I could try switching it up. I can go outside my comfort zone. I can get on another platform. I could try to stir up engagement on Facebook or YouTube. I can look critically at the results that I'm getting from this same old content and really take ownership of that and figure out how I can iterate instead of just being willing to accept that these are the views now, this is the engagement I'm getting, and
mm,
my leads went.
mhm.
And so why it was a blessing in disguise is I think that I was like, okay, like if this valuable content that I've been producing is not going to get the kind of views and engagement that I need and that I've been getting, I'm going to just try throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, like making just I don't want to say off the wall content, but I think that the first several months of, being a content creator was very like serious, very like about business and facts. And yes, that was helpful. But I think what changed at that point for me was it kind of like pushed me to like show my personality, show my sense of humor. And really that's where I kind of veered toward building a personal brand. And that is the kind of like, that's the thing that really allowed me to like take my coaching offer in a really powerful way to market and have people want to work with me because of my personal brand and who I am and how I differentiated myself, because I wasn't like every other person promoting XYZ thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think the big takeaway for me was, number one, like when life hands you lemons, like throw it back at life. No.
Yeah.
But, do something, turn that into something positive. There's always some kind of, lesson to be learned. And I know that sounds, again, cheesy and hippie, but it's absolutely true. And what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Meaning if we survive a thing, if we keep going, then by virtue of us having gone through that, we will have learned something.
Yes.
And so I think that like learning to roll with the punches and also expand, like put more effort into Facebook, put more effort into YouTube, and really look at kind of my business as a whole instead of just being so reliant on one platform. I think that was like the big like takeaway for me and the big lesson that I learned, and that I would tell anyone else who's watching, if stuff isn't working, try different stuff.
Yeah. It almost seems too simple, but you're absolutely right. And again, I think it goes back to, that 9 to 5 thinking of when you get stuck, there's just the next thing in the system that you're supposed to do versus when you start out in becoming an entrepreneur, the answers aren't always given to you. You're going to have to really dive in there and search for yourself. Sometimes it might not be the answer that you want. Honestly, the answer might steer you in another direction, but you have to be flexible and go in that direction. And I love that you've honestly been giving all of those tips because it's scary. It is scary, even if you're holding on to a 9 to 5, to start a business, because at the end of the day, people they want that dream. Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't want to fall backwards into 6 and 7 figures and live the life and have all the time freedom? But that comes with a lot of time. That comes with a lot of effort, but it comes with failure. It comes with failure. And I think a lot of people struggle with that, right? Nobody wants to be a failure innately, right? Nobody wants to be a failure. And also nobody, I think, sometimes I get a lot of comments and feedback, even in some of the folks that I'm coaching and working with, where they are I was working with a client this weekend and it's been a couple of weeks and she was afraid to just hit record. She was afraid to just hit record. And finally I had to say to her, what's going on? What's going on? Like, you know what to do. Why aren't you hitting record?
Yeah.
And it basically boiled down to, when I hit record, I'm putting myself out there. And what if it doesn't work? I fail. Now everybody is watching me fail.
I have so many thoughts and so many feelings. Like if I could tell you guys, there's a show called RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like the only show I watch. I don't watch TV, but so the way it's like it's a competition for drag queens, and then they narrow it down to the top one and they win $100,000. And so I love that show. There's so much wisdom, but one of the pieces of wisdom that's so applicable to what we do and what we can learn as business owners, online business owners and content creators. So they whittle it down to like the top 4, and they always get to that point. And then RuPaul asks the 4 top queens, like, if you could go back in time and give a piece of advice to little 4-year-old or 5-year-old or 6-year-old you, what would you tell yourself? And it's so, I don't know. edifying to watch because it's always the same, some iteration of the same piece of advice, which is you're going to go through some hardships in life. You're going to go through some trials and tribulations. People are going to be mean to you. They're going to misunderstand you, but stay true to who you are. Because when you find your tribe, your people, they're not going to love you despite your quirks and despite your weirdness and, you know, the things that make you unique. They're going to love you because of those things. And if I could give any message to anyone who's like struggling with content creation for fear that you're going to get heckled and made fun of and this and that, I think one of the biggest surprises for me was that, you know, TikTok is this magical all-knowing algorithm, but it will find your people for you. Your job is just to show up and create content that's authentic and valuable and just real. And yeah, it's that's like a little bit vulnerable. But what TikTok is so good at, and I think social media in general, but especially TikTok, is it will put your content out in front of the right people. And you will find your tribe and you will find your community. And I know that sounds crazy because TikTok is this like dancing app for kids, but that's absolutely been my experience. And I know the experience of so many other creators. And that's why it's such a powerful platform, is because you are going to find the people that love you because you wear your high school sweatshirt, because you don't look like the perfect, like, blonde model on Instagram standing in front of a Lamborghini. Do you know what I mean? Like your people are going to resonate with your story and your authenticity. And that's why it's important to be you, because then you don't have to try to remember the lies of like who you are that you told yourself in your head and put that on every day like a mask. You just get to show up as yourself and be imperfect and be you and be loved and be respected and have people know, like, and trust you because of you being yourself. And that's just like so powerful.
That is wow, that is nail right on the head there. That is absolutely so powerful. Even in this crazy moment where the algorithm, I call her Algie. She's you know, she a hot mess lately, but that's okay. That's okay. Everybody has their moments, you know, holidays, and I still love her. But you're absolutely right. Even in this moment, I find even more so that the community, you're finding your tribe and community because she's only showing people that really are part of your community first. Really, you know, you're not getting that, you're not falling backwards onto the For You page like you used to before. Like literally you just open up a can of Coke and you'd make it on For You page.
Serious.
And you'd have like 25 million views.
Oh God.
So yeah, that is all like really, really excellent stuff. And there was like, so just, again, just taking it back from the very beginning, just the everything about your story, you know, I'm just going to be completely transparent with you, is so inspiring, truly, because whenever I hear people really complain about, well, I don't know, and it's excuses. At the end of the day, it's excuses. It's a fear of failure. It's a fear of it's too hard, and what do I do? You know, you've come from truly just really taking control and ownership of your life, right? Getting back control over and overcoming addiction, stepping out from teaching and just journeying into a whole nother world and showing that, you know, you don't have to come from, you know, a certain background to be successful. You can create your own success, but you got to get out there and stop making excuses and create the success. You got to get to work.
Yeah.
You got to work.
And something that just came up as you were talking, like, because I was just thinking back, like, it's crazy to me. It's like, have you ever been through a really difficult breakup or something and you're just depressed, like you're in your feelings and you're just like living like you haven't showered in 3 days, just like all, you know, everything like that. You don't bounce back from that to, you know, feeling like $1,000,000, looking fabulous, your hair's did, like all of that, like being in a mansion, like just running around with all this energy. You don't do it like that. That's not how it works. How we progress, and not just how we bounce back from things, but I think how we progress with any skill, with any improvement or growth experience in life is like a little bit at a time. And so don't see, like, honestly, if I would have like felt like I needed to set the expectation or set the goal of making 6 figures within a year of starting my business, I would have been so intimidated and so scared. But I think that if we just focus, it's like that Martin Luther King Jr. quote. You don't need, and I'm paraphrasing, but you don't need to see the full staircase. You just need to see like the next step.
Oh,
And,
yes. Mm.
and it's like, you don't need to bounce back from that horrible breakup by being your best self tomorrow. You could just start by taking a shower. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
take those baby
Yeah.
steps and
Mhm.
build on that. It will
Mhm.
make it seem so much like less impossible to just take small steps. And then I highly recommend journaling, y'all. When you look back at your journal from last month, you'll be like, dang, look where I was, look where I am now.
Yes.
And then in 2 months, and then in 3 months,
Yes.
you can accomplish so much more than you even understand in 6 months or a year. But
Absolutely.
it just starts with doing like one behavior today. And it might
Absolutely.
feel meaningless, but like just that series of doing those behaviors is everything.
But it compounds, and I love that you brought that up, and because when people get started in affiliate marketing or even starting a business, right? I love that you touched on that. You're not going to fall back. You're not going to start at 6 figures, right? Not everybody just jumps to that. That takes one step at a time. So set small, realistic goals, for yourself. When I first started, and I even did a piece on TikTok, my goal was to pay just to be able to get to $300 a week. I needed to, $1,200 a month. I wanted to pay for daycare, because and my son doesn't go to some fancy daycare, even though I said $1,200 a month. You would think he's going to some sort of Montessori, organic daycare. But it was a small goal. I didn't set a goal that was really large. And it sounds like you did the same thing, right? You just wanted to set a small goal and then just take those specific steps. And I love also that you talked a lot about journaling and really writing things down, because I started doing that as well too. I keep a daily journal, and I also have a gratitude jar as well. It's just like gigantic. It used to be my old kombucha jar, but it's a gigantic jar that I don't make anything up. But anyway, when I have big wins, and even if it's a small win, but it's a big win, right? Like creating a first TikTok, for example, would be a win. Getting 1,000 followers would be a win. I write it on an index card and I put it in my gratitude jar. And at the end of the year, I pull out, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I pull all of the index cards out and I go through my accomplishments for the year to see where I started, right? And I dated, obviously, and versus where you end up. And I love that you mentioned journaling that. And I think that's such an important thing for people to do, because I don't think they realize how much they do, if that makes sense. Right? I don't think people give themselves enough credit to say, you're really doing a lot. Yeah, you're not, you may not be able to quit your 9 to 5 just yet, but my God, you're getting there. Just keep going. Would you agree?
Yeah. 1,000%. And it's like, I think number one, oh gosh, there's so many benefits of journaling, but you can look back, like you were saying, look back and see how far you've come, how much you've been able to accomplish, because I think we live life on autopilot so much that we forget the struggles of where we came from, because we are just caught up on today and the future, and we tend to remember the negative things about the past, that stuff that keeps us up at night, like, oh, that stupid thing I said in 3rd grade. But we fail to remember even the small, like you said, making your first TikTok, or the small victories that compound over time. And so, and really, like, I look back, I have to share this or I will explode.
Sure.
So this is my journal from last year, but, okay, listen to this. This is from November 2nd, 2020, y'all. So I said, and this is very much like in my voice, so you'll probably laugh. I low-key feel a sense of excitement, and not just right now, but it comes in bursts throughout the day. It's usually when I'm listening to an audiobook and I have just a brief but clear realization that I can do great things that help people and that are in line with what I'm figuring out is my life's purpose, but that also can make me money and build me wealth. And I just kind of like go on to talk about adding value in people's lives and helping people and helping them to build wealth. And I had no idea. This is, again, over a year ago at this point. I didn't know what affiliate marketing was. I wasn't like thinking about necessarily building an online business. But number one, it goes back to priming your mind and like just inundating yourself with positivity and growth and success and getting yourself in that right headspace. But number two, it's such a trip to look back at that and know, oh my God, like I literally wrote this into existence. I mean,
Mhm,
like my
mhm.
expectation was such that, of course, this happened. Of course, I was able to accomplish what I did this year because I like felt it. Do you know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like I
mhm.
wasn't just
Absolutely.
writing it like 1+1 is 2, where you understand it
Absolutely.
intellectually, but not in your heart. Like I
Absolutely.
felt it, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that 10,000% because that's, as I said, that's exactly what I do. I have goals and I write them down. I had a recent interview with Dave, and when I
Mhm.
first started with affiliate marketing, I was literally week 2. I was 2 weeks in, and I wrote, "I will appear on Wake Up Legendary."
Yeah.
And it, again, going back to your point of taking baby steps, taking it, I think, if guys, if you're not hearing the message that we're saying here, right, it's really get into a mindset. You really need to take control of your mind, but then also establish goals for yourself, but then take baby steps. Don't expect to just, jump right in to be like the big influencers in the 6 figures, because they started right where you are. They started
Mhm.
from the beginning, truly,
Yeah.
right? But when you keep yourself accountable and just keep taking steps every single day, right? Especially when you're journaling it, it does allow you to go back and look at what you wrote. Because sometimes we veer off course sometimes, and that's okay. But going back to it, it's just like, okay, I wrote that down and I realized that there was a skill set I needed to learn. There were certain things I needed to do. I needed to create content. I needed to just hit record, get over myself, get out of my own feelings, give people
Mhm.
value, right? Get
Yeah.
out of your own way. And it really sounds like that has just really been the absolute key to your success. And I know, in our group, when I first was in the group, I was just literally just sitting like this, like, oh gosh, what's Barb going to say? She's going to drop some awesome, awesome tips that I need to take copious notes on. But what I love so much about you is, I getting to know you just a little bit, is you keep it real, right? You keep it real. You don't make it complicated, because it's really not that
Mhm.
complicated. There is a framework for those people that are on saying, yes, this, but I need to know the steps. We're really kind of dropping them for you, right? The steps really are getting into your mindset, really taking control over how you're thinking. And in doing so, writing down what it is you want to accomplish. Truly write it down, and then just take that step. Just take that first
Mhm.
step. You're not expected to know everything. You'll really kind of learn as you go. But just take that step. So,
Mhm.
Barb, if you had to think about, because we've dropped just so many diamonds, really, we could build a tennis bracelet with what we dropped today. So many diamonds. If you had to think about maybe just the key takeaways for folks that are in that moment of, okay, this interview has been fire. I like what I'm hearing, but after the broadcast is over, now what? What would you say?
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, I would say number 1, take some kind of action. I think that something that people get worried about, and honestly, I would see this with kids, my students. Is this right? Girl,
Mm,
that was like the most common question. Is this right? And we would be like, I don't know, is it? Does it like what is the expected outcome? Like, do you want your robot to turn on? Like I built like STEM projects with kids. You want your robot to move? It's not moving. Why do you think that is?
mhm,
Like, learn to think critically about before asking, like, is this right? There is no right answer in
mm,
entrepreneurship, generally speaking. There's only the next step that you decide you're going to take for your business and the repercussions of that. And then you learn from it, you know?
mhm, mhm,
So what I would say is get started, do something. Like get started doing affiliate marketing. Get started, like just take some form of action where you're making a commitment of some kind and then committing to it, like sticking around, doing it for like 6 months, let's say. And if you are fully committed and you have taken all, you know, you're taking retreat off of the table,
mm,
you will be amazed what will happen in your life in 6 months. The
mhm,
end. The end. And if you don't know what that first step is, ask. Hello, look who you have this wealth of information and knowledge and expertise that you can ask. I would say take a first step and make a commitment for 6 months. Then find some way to keep yourself accountable. For me, when I first started, that was that $2,500 investment that was
mm,
saying, "Hey, remember me?" And I was like, oh, I was like nose to the grindstone, just like working. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that was
Oh,
my
I know.
accountability.
Yeah.
So whatever that looks like for you, whether it's sharing your goals with someone that you trust, that you know is going to like keep you on track,
Mm-hmm.
like finding an accountability partner in the group, like whatever that looks like. But I think that taking some form of action and committing to it, and then holding yourself accountable so you don't have any escape path,
Mm-hmm.
that would be those would be the steps I would take. If you feel inspired to do something, to take action, to change your life, those would be the steps that I would recommend. And also I will add, because you mentioned this earlier and it spoke to me, but it's like when people are like, oh, that's too hard, that's too much effort, I don't know how to do that. Those are all excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Stop making excuses and instead take radical accountability and like responsibility over your life. And I'll conclude with this. I saw something yesterday. I was going through this training and it was talking about, okay, how to bring a product to market. Like, what's the problem you want to solve for your audience? What skills, knowledge, expertise, etc., are needed to solve that problem for this group of people? And then the next question got me. It was, do you currently have that skill, knowledge, expertise?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, just go get it, go learn it. Like if it's a skill like marketing, if it's a skill like content creation or funnel building, whatever it is, you can learn that skill.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be like, oh, well, I don't know how to do this, I'm stuck. No, just go learn that skill. And if you don't know how, you have a resource here that will help you and get you pointed in the right direction. But like figure out what you want and then just take that first step.
Okay, y'all. And with that, okay, we're gonna drop the mic. Okay, she basically just gave you the secret sauce there. And for those of you who need steps and you need to take copious notes, she just literally told you your exit ticket, as we call it in teaching.
Mhm.
Okay, she gave you your exit ticket. These are the things that you need to do next. Barb, this was amazing. Okay, like absolutely amazing. And I definitely will be inviting you back in. I would love to have
Oh,
you back into the group. I know for those people that are going to be watching this on the replay, it's going to be total fire. If I were to take a poll, I think to say, okay, who wants fire back in the group, it's going to be a no brainer. To have
I'll
you
pay
come
you
back.
guys that $20
I
later.
know, right? To have you back in the group, but this was absolute fire, and I so appreciate you so much for coming in and really being open and raw, really, as you always are. You know, you're always no holds barred, but just really dropping just absolute diamonds to everyone to help them really get past that next step. And that was really one of the main reasons why I was just so honored to have you in the group, because I said, if you can't learn from Barb, right? A woman who's overcome so much, really getting past the no excuses, no more excuses in life. There is no reason why you cannot be successful. If you cannot look at Barb as the epitome of an example of success, of going from overcoming addiction and recovery and staying in that and then moving to build herself to a six-figure digital marketer from home. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else
Flip
to
a table.
I'm done. I'm out, as my son would say. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. So Barb, thank you again so much. We so appreciate you.
You're so welcome. Anytime.
All right. I will talk soon. Bye
Alrighty.
guys.
Bye.